What would you say going into the real estate? What was the biggest adversity that you encountered that you're like, I did not see that one coming?
So, and any agent will tell you this. Whenever you take your classes and you take your test and all the stuff, they prep, they prop you up and all this stuff, and it's a big pep rally and cheerleaders and blah, blah, blah. But whenever you get turned out into the wild, like I said, like I like to call it, how do I generate business? They don't teach you how to generate business. Mm-hmm. And so you are relying on that broker that you put your license under to train you and teach you how to do this. Mm-hmm. They should be, not all do, but they should be monitoring X amount of transactions. I make sure that I monitor at least 10 transactions in every, so residential, farm and ranch, commercial. Mm-hmm. Because it's a direct reflection on you and your business. Right. And so that's the biggest deal is how do I do this now? And whenever I can write the contract. Oh, yeah, I'm excited. I got a buyer. Oh, we're going to buy 123 Main Street. It's going to be amazing. It's $150,000. This is my first deal. It's amazing. What do I do after I write the contract? Oh, inspections. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. We need to make sure liens. All the stuff we got to get it to title company. We got to clear the title. We got to figure out. Surveys. Mm-hmm. All the things that involve a real estate transaction. Whenever you get your license, you have no idea about, and that is a massive barrier of success in the industry. You can get in it, but to be good at it. You better hitch your wagon to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Did you already own a home beforehand, or did you?
Yeah, I bought my first house in 2008 in College Station.
Okay, so you had used a realtor before you bought your first?
I have a real estate license,
so you did do that. Okay,
I did it with the help of attorneys. It was back in
2008 was a good year to buy real estate.
I wish I was old enough.
Yeah, right. That was our biggest mistake.
No, that was back in the assumable loan days. Yeah. I assumed a loan at I think it was 7.25 or something like that. Yeah. We got it done in a week, and the title company in College Station was like, I don't know how the hell y'all did this, but congrats.
At 13 years old, that was the biggest mistake we did. We should have seen some loans.
In 2008, how many pages did you have to sign on that loan? Because
it was an inch and a half thick.
So it was still a lot of paper.
Tons,
then.
Yeah.
Okay, because you hear people say that, I never had to sign this much stuff back then.
It's been long. It's always been that much.
I was curious.
You know what's wild is you can go buy a house and it's a stack of paper. Mm-hmm. You can go buy the same amount, more debt on a piece of iron. It's like, hey, you got this 1 page credit. And you can hide this. You can't hide a house. Unless it's a mobile house.
Drive this some bitch out of here.
An RV.
Yeah.
It's like boat loans. Boat loans will give you a 30-year note on a freaking boat. It's like, I remember when we were in college and, someone would be like, yeah, we're taking the 28-foot Mastercraft out. I'm like, how the hell does that guy have a brand new Mastercraft? That boat's $290,000.
He can't even pay for a sandwich.
Yeah.
He
asked me for money the other day.
He financed it for 30 years. That's how he did it.
It's nuts. Your truck loans right now, you can get a 7-year.
So they're moving them to 8.
Yeah.
We're seeing 8-year loans on stuff.
So when I was talking
products get more expensive, dollars worth less. They got to stretch it out.
So when I was talking to a consumer, and he's been in the business for a long time, and I asked him, I said, how's your business going? He goes, man, I've hit some adversity. We're trying to scale. He goes, we've been in business for 28 years. And he goes, this is the hardest it's ever been to scale. And the first thing I asked him is, I said, how are you scaling? He goes, well, I borrowed this money for this equipment, and now I don't, now I'm going to have to refinance it because I actually aligned with a predatory lender. And a predatory lender is kind of a skewed thing to say. Sure. But in this instance, I think he's probably right. I think this is a predatory lender. They want to make it as long as possible, get as much interest. It's a high rate. And I was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. I got 3 banks. We're going to take all these loans and we're going to spread these out in individual notes. We're going to take that risk. We're going to put it in 48 months. And I said, we're going to take this from a 60 month, we're going to put it at 48. It's going to be hard on your cash flow. But at the end of the day, you're going to have higher residuals. And I think what's happening is people are kind of doing that, 1920s, 1929 model of, oh, you mean I can just put it on as many, months as possible and make it work?
Right.
They're not looking at the numbers. And
that's the Dave Ramsey method,
like debt's not bad if you use it correctly.
Right.
If you go and I was told this and I love this in any schedule of debt, because if you can pay it off in a year, you sprint, you can rent a jet to go get it, right? To the bank to go get your note. If it takes 24 months, you run to the bank. If it takes 36 months, you start to walk. If it takes 48 months to get it paid back, you might skip. You might just lollygag, get over there. If you have to go to 60, 72, 84, and this is on depreciating assets, this isn't really, you can take the same principle to, buying a business or whatever. If you have to go to 6 years, what depreciable asset right now are you seeing that you're going to keep for your lifetime? And this isn't, pre-2000s. People were taking assets and they're like, oh, I'm going to have this pickup for the next 30 years. Yep. I mean, how many pickups do you know that your dad had or your grandpa had? And you're like, I might still have that.
I think one's still on the ranch.
Right? Imagine a 2016. You think that truck's going to be around?
No.
And so you're saying that I'm going to keep this? I'm going to keep this truck for the next X amount of years and it's not going to break, or I'm not going to put $20,000, $30,000 into it, or at least 30 or 40% of its value.
Or it runs out its tax value.
Right.
You have to buy something. Go ahead. Keep going.
So if we look at business as a cash flow, not necessarily we have all these assets, but if we look at it we're going to be cash poor for X amount of months, but we're going to have all this equity because when the economy turns, all those people that were sitting cash high and equity high in 2019 did really great going
Absolutely.
into 21, 22. The guys who bought in 22 because they're like, oh, well, it's 3% interest and this is an inflated rate, it'll play. Yeah, they might have bought on 60 months. They're going to have to carry that machine because of the inflated price, the full term, to make it pencil.
You can make, counter, right?
Yeah.
You can still turn a profit and make a bad purchase.
Sure.
If you're a contractor and, you get awarded a job and you need this asset to help get that job completed because you're going to make 3 times what you spent, then that's a necessary evil. Like, that's just something you have to do.
Right.
But in that specific situation, why wouldn't you just lease that machinery?
If it's a long duration project.
Yeah.
Generally what he's referencing there is if you have a project that's over a year going into 2 years, then yeah.
Gotcha.
So, moving from this,
when do you sell real estate?
Yeah, when do you sell real estate?
Let's say, because people get attached to
24 hours a day. What are you talking about?
No, if I'm a guy that, or I'm a customer that likes, the house I bought, right?
Yeah.
I love the house I bought, but I got in it good. When is the time for that person to sell? Right.
That is
completely like the market's good, right?
Sure. Nobody knows. It's to each individual person.
Subjective.
Yeah. It's your situation is going to be different than your situation is different than mine. So there's no correct answer to that. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have a cash flowing asset, say multi-tenant retail center, and you have a different project that you're wanting to get into, and you gauge the market and your cap rates are low and therefore your values are high, then yeah, absolutely. That's you can't paint it with a broad brush. Mm-hmm. It's to each individual person. We're seeing a lot of these big ranches that have been inherited after 4, 5, 6 generations, and they've never even been on it. Mm-hmm. They're in Nashville or Houston or whatever, and they have their own lives, and they don't want to ranch anymore. And it's at that time, maybe that's the right call, is to sell it.
Mm-hmm. When is a good time, or what type of property would be a good investment for somebody trying to get a rental property or get
into agriculture
or a commercial piece of real estate?
I can't remember who told me this. It was a long time ago, but he was buying a ranch, and we're sitting there going through the feasibility period and all this stuff. And I said, well, talk to me. What's going on? What are your reservations about? That's one of my favorite questions to ask is, what are your reservations about this? And he goes, I got to figure out how to make this thing pay for itself. And I never thought of that. And so my advice on different property types is you need to look at cash flow properties. I own a storage facility, and it pays for itself, literally. I mean, my note is X, my payment is this, and I get paid this, and it covers it, and so it pays itself off.
So would an Airbnb, like not everybody was buying an Airbnb 1920?
Man, I'll be honest with you, I don't do rent houses. I have had rent houses. They are a pain. If I was counseling somebody that wanted to get into real estate, I would say stay away from rent houses.
Is it because of the renter laws or what?
It's a mess, and I don't think we have enough time. To be honest with you, there's
So the next episode.
there's
Volume 2.
multi-level problems there. But I mean, people make it work. Don't get me wrong. I just personally would look at cash flow stuff. Look at your smaller storage facilities. Look at office buildings that have a lease type deal. I mean, it all depends on what you can afford.
Is it better? Is there more profit in buying a raw piece of property and building what your consumer base would be, or buying a pre-existing building and renovating it?
That depends on the market and construction costs at today's rate, right? It's, you look at what would it cost me to buy versus what would it cost me to build, and could you build exactly what you want? Yeah, and there's value in use, and that's what a lot of people
Utilization is key.
Skip over. This is for your business, and you are going to use it for X amount of time, and then you can sell it. There is a gap in there. There's a value in use, and so if you build the pool of your dreams and you live there for another 15, 20 years, you're not going to get dollar for dollar back, but you got to use it for 15, 20 years. And there is massive amounts of value in that. So I know I didn't directly answer your question, but it's just, we'd have to get property specific.
Right.
And, whether we're talking
It's
about
region, geographical.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all having me. This was fun.
Thanks for coming on, Sterling. I think a lot of people will learn from your experience in real estate. I know certainly I wish I would have paid more attention to it as a younger man coming into the business world, especially. I didn't really start even thinking about purchasing property till I was probably in the middle of college, right? Kind of right towards the end, you're like, I'm about to get out into the real world, and I wish I would have paid more attention to that even in high school. So hopefully people listening to this will educate themselves on it. And just before we teeter off here, what's one piece of advice you'd give out to a young entrepreneur?
Get ready for some long nights, and don't be scared of doing that. I've referenced it earlier. Be willing to sleep at the office work till 4 a.m., get good at what you do, and it will only get better from there. Spend your time in the barrel.
Yeah. It's a nasty barrel.
Yeah.
How do people get in touch with you?
Are we giving out cell phone numbers?
Well, you can.
Yeah. I'll wear one.
Yeah. So my company is Sterling Property Group, powered by Keller Williams here in San Angelo. Our appraisal company is Paramount Property Analysts out of College Station. I'm pretty easy to find. Every realtor in the world has, social media, and
Do you have a social media handle?
it's Sterling Property Group. It's Facebook / Sterling Property Group, Instagram, all the things, and they can look me up.
There you
Awesome.
go. Well,
Thanks
thank you
for
for
coming
coming on.
Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.